What if I told you there was a crop out there that literally everyone could grow that was tasty, nutritious, doesn't require you to have a garden, a pot, or even any soil? Would you be interested? This tiny little bag of about 20 cents worth of alfalfa seeds is going to balloon up to about this much volume of alfalfa sprouts. It's going to do it in about a week using only water. Hi, I'm Jeff from the Ripe Tomato Farms. Today, armed with just this glass jar and our 20 cents worth of seeds, I'm going to show you why alfalfa sprouts are literally the easiest crop in the world to grow. The term sprout is thrown around and often used without the majority of people knowing what it actually means. In most of our crops, there's a defined timeline of growth, starting from when the seeds actually sprout all the way up to the developed adult plant itself. Categorized by age as well as development, plants fall into 4 common types. Initially, right after germination, up to about a week old, we have sprouts, which is what we're growing here today. Left to grow a little bit longer, about a week or so, and likely needing some soil, we have microgreens. Past that, at about 3 weeks plus, all the way up to just before the adult stage, we've got baby greens. And then of course we have the final stage, the adult plant or the main crop. A trip to the produce section in your local supermarket reveals plants at every single one of these stages available to buy. From sprouts like our alfalfa to microgreens such as pea shoots. This spring mix salad covers the baby greens and of course regular produce such as lettuce and all of our other veggies. While every other life stage requires soil, containers, space, possibly fertilizers, and no shortage of time, sprouts need none of that. A week-long crop grown only in water. Pretty remarkable, but it doesn't end there. These tiny sprouts pack some big-time nutrition. The key to this, just like with their microgreen cousins, happens to be their nutrient density. Sprouted seeds have significantly more vitamins and antioxidants per unit of weight than their adult versions. And while the specific ratio increase depends on the variety you're growing, all sprouts generally contain higher levels of folates, manganese, magnesium, phosphorus, and vitamins B, C, and K. So here we have a crop where we don't need a huge amount of space or even really a garden to grow it. It doesn't require any expensive equipment, and it matures in about a week. So that means there's no pests, and the required level of green thumb is pretty low. That sounds pretty amazing to me. I think we should get started. Like we said, growing your own alfalfa sprouts at home is super easy. The whole process only takes about a week, and it's covered by 4 steps: soaking, rinsing, greening up, and of course the harvest. Let's go over each step in detail so that we can become sprouting masters. Growing alfalfa sprouts, or any sprouts for that matter, all starts with the seeds. And although they're widely available, you gotta make sure you get the right ones. Always look for organic, untreated alfalfa seeds that are meant for sprouting and consumption, and not the generic stuff that is used for farm forage. Now, the seeds may seem expensive at first until you realize how little you actually need to grow a significant amount of alfalfa sprouts. For our first batch, let's keep things simple. Fill up a 500 ml jar with regular tap water and add 2 tablespoons of your alfalfa seeds. Mix them around gently so that all the seeds are submerged and set aside at room temperature for about 8 to 12 hours. Again, for simplicity's sake, I just set mine up to soak overnight. Although we just started and it's all relatively easy so far, this is actually when the first big mistake can happen. Left for too long, say upwards of 15 to 20 hours, your submerged seeds are going to begin to ferment. If this occurs for too long, it can damage the seeds and your germination rates are going to decline. rapidly. So after a max of 12 hours of soaking, you need to drain those seeds as well as rinse them about 2 or 3 times. Whenever you're rinsing alfalfa seeds, and we'll be doing this a lot over the next week or so, a strainer or strainer lid really does come in handy. The seeds are mobile and they can easily spill everywhere at every stage of the process, but especially right now before they've sprouted. So if we're not careful, we could lose a significant amount down the drain. Okay, after we rinse a couple times and thoroughly drain all that water out, set the jar aside with the lid on, again at room temperature and away from any light. Step 1 is done and we're on our way. Alright, while we set up our alfalfa seeds nicely and done everything that we're supposed to do so far, what we do in step 2 is going to dictate the success of the entire endeavor. Step 2 is all about rinse and repeat, literally. For the next 3 to 4 days, we're going to rinse our alfalfa seeds upwards of 4 times a day. Truly, this is key, and it cannot be understated. Now, for the first couple of days, I do rinse 4 times each day, for sure. But around day 3 or 4, we don't need to do it nearly as much. Pretty quickly, you'll see that your alfalfa seeds have fully germinated, both the roots and the shoots. At this time, you can dial down your rinsings to just twice a day. You see, the seeds are kept moist only by the surface tension of the water remaining after each rinse. On days 1 and 2, when there's only the small, smooth seeds, the ability to hold onto the water is pretty minimal. Same with day 3, with just that tiny first root showing. If the sprouts dry out at any stage, it's game over. Okay, around day 4 or 5, your alfalfa seeds are going to be fully sprouted. At this time, we need to lay the jar on its side. The goal here is to spread the alfalfa seeds around a bit, giving them some space, giving them some air. We don't want to let them stay as a big clump at the bottom of the jar. That's not going to give us the results we want. If you look close, you'll see that these guys are fully fledged little plants, and they need their space. So, lay the jar on its side, and this is going to set us up for the home stretch. By now, day 6 or 7, our alfalfa sprouts are stretching the limits. Like a fish out of water, bare plants with no soil have no anchor, and they've got no direction. Even though they've grown to 10 times the size they were as seeds, and they're fully edible right now, we need one final push to get to sprouting nirvana. Right now is what I call the greening stage, and all it involves is giving the sprouts access to light. Just 6 hours of really bright light is going to green up those leaves and have the sprouts swell up that final 20%. No more rinsing here, just light and air. If the sprouts were grown in the traditional method using soil, right now is when we notice them becoming little plants. When you step back, it's pretty amazing to watch this entire process above ground. Our alfalfa sprouts have reached their final product, the same as what you buy in the store, except only fresher and at a fraction of the price. For storage, all the sprouts that you're not going to eat right away need to be refrigerated. You can keep them in the same jar or use a small plastic container. They keep for about 3 to 4 days, so if you want a continual supply of fresh alfalfa sprouts, look to be starting a new batch every 4 days or so. Okay, for such an easy, quick crop, that felt like a lot of information. Let's go ahead and recap those main points to really solidify the process. Using organic alfalfa seeds that are meant for sprouting, soak 2 tablespoons per 500 ml of water overnight for about 8 to 12 hours, no more. Make sure all the seeds are submerged, as some of them tend to float on the surface initially. Soaking the seeds is very important, and as step 1, it's meant to break dormancy. After soaking, Drain the seeds of all the water and give them a good rinse. Store the jar with the lid closed on your countertop or even in a cupboard. Don't forget about them though, as they're going to need to be rinsed and washed 3 to 4 times daily for the next 5 to 6 days. By day 5, 6, or even sometimes 7, your alfalfa seeds will be fully sprouted, and they should be greened up by placing them in bright light for about 6 hours. After greening, store the sprouts in the fridge for up to 4 days, repeating the process so that you can have fresh alfalfa every day without ever having to settle for grocery store stuff ever again. Alfalfa sprouts. Literally the fastest, easiest crop that you'll ever grow. No tools, soil, or even a garden is required. Hopefully today I've shown you just how easy it is to grow your own alfalfa sprouts right at home. Hey, best of luck guys, and I'll see you soon. Hey, thanks so much for watching guys. I appreciate the support more than you know. And if you're getting value from these videos, please like and share them to spread the word and help your fellow gardener to grow better.